Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of our video newsletter. In this video, I want to talk to you about the signs that your loved one is not going to get released from the Baker Act facility. So if you've watched any of my other videos, you know I am a big proponent of taking action and taking action fast. But there are some people who call me and they say, look, I'm not ready to do this. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to spend the money on legal fees. I'm just going to wait and see what happens. So here are some things. I made some notes. I actually had to jot them down because it was quite a few of them. Here are some of the signs that you should look for that your loved one is not going to be released from the facility. So here it is. Number one, you have no idea where they are, right? No idea where they are. So we've had calls from folks whose loved one got taken to a hospital and then they literally fall into a black hole. They called over the hospital, nobody knows where they are, or they've been told they've been transferred, but they're not going to tell you where it is because it's confidential. And now you have no idea where they are. None. Number two, your loved one has been, you know that your loved one's been Baker Acted, but you haven't heard from them. They haven't called you. You've had no emails, nothing. You've had no contact with them. Number three, not only have you not heard from them, you know where they are, but you can't make contact with them. You're calling the facility. Maybe you're sending them text messages. You're calling their cell phone, and you're not getting any response. No one is allowing you to talk to your loved one. So you have no idea what's going on inside that facility. Number four, you've called the facility and you can't get a straight answer, right? You have no one is telling you if your loved one is going to be getting out, okay? You're asking, when are they getting out? Well, we don't know. The doctor has to see them. When will that happen? We don't know, okay? So you're basically getting the runaround. Number five, you're told that your loved one is getting out on a specific date and time, and then it doesn't happen. So people are calling facilities and they're saying, when's my loved one going to get out? Because the 72 hours is nearly up. And the facility says, don't worry, the doctor's going to see your loved one, this morning, and, they're going to be released at noon. Well, noon comes and goes, and you call over there, and if you can even get a straight answer, because most of the time you can't get a straight answer, they're like, well, the doctor saw her, or they saw him, and they decided, you know what, they need to stay a little bit longer. And now your loved one is still stuck in the facility. Number six, your loved one is being denied medications. So people are, taking medications. Perhaps it's for anxiety. It could be for depression. It could be a blood pressure medication. It could be some other type of medication that regulates, some type of function in your body. And now the facility is refusing to give them those medications. And of course, you're now worried about your loved one, and you should be. But what's going on here is they are intentionally trying to destabilize your loved one. Why are they destabilizing them, Mark? Well, because they want to make a case so that they can go into court and say, Your Honor, look at this person. She's terrible. He's terrible. They need to stay longer. So they're denying them meds intentionally. Number seven, your loved one is being given meds, right, that they don't normally take. And I've heard horrible stories of people being held down and injected with medications that cause all kinds of horrible responses. Perhaps they sleep all day. We had one young lady who was 19 years of age, and I was able to sort of video chat with her, and she was, it was just heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking. As I have 5 nieces and a grandniece, and this was probably the most emotional call I've had with a client. It was just terrible. She was catatonic. She went from being catatonic to yelling and screaming and literally bouncing off the walls. Why? Because they'd given her medications to intentionally destabilize her. So again, they can go into court and make a case. Look, Judge, this person needs to stay longer. Look at them. They're terrible. Well, of course they're terrible. You've given them medication they didn't need. So that's one of the things you need to look out for. And number 8, your loved one is being told to sign documents. Okay, I love this one, okay? People call me all the time. They say, the facility told my loved one that, they should sign some documents so that they can stay for 24 hours. So let me just explain something to you about the Baker Act. There are 2 types of admission, voluntary and involuntary. So let's talk about involuntary because that's sort of the one that I see coming across my desk most frequently. That's where perhaps you got taken to a facility by law enforcement, or you went to the hospital. Perhaps you just needed some help, okay, anxiety, depression, or you just needed, an update in your meds, whatever it was, and then a doctor in the emergency room decided you needed to stay, okay? So now you've gone there for help, or you've called 911 for help, and you're being taken to a facility that you didn't really want to go to. You didn't plan on going. I'm sure you weren't, planning on going to a Baker Act facility when you called 911. That's an involuntary examination, okay? And that's where the sort of 72-hour window kicks in. There's also what they call a voluntary examination, where you went there willingly. You showed up at their front door and asked for help. And so those are typically cases where you've called, say perhaps you've called your therapist or a psychiatrist, somebody you treat with, and said, look, I'm not feeling good, what should I do? And they said, look, this is your local facility. You should go down there and ask them for help. And what happens is you go down to the facility and you say, look, I need help. My psychiatrist, my therapist sent me here. And they say, sign here. Sign here. And what you've just signed is voluntary examination documents that enable them lawfully to keep you for a period of 24 hours. Well, what happens is that once you're in, of course, they want to keep you in because it's a great moneymaker for them. They say, hey, just sign these documents. And you say, listen, I don't want to sign anymore. I've done 24 hours. I feel better. Thank you very much. I'd like to go home. And they say, listen, if you don't sign these documents, we're going to file for a court order to keep you. And they say, and you say, well, look, your loved one says, look, I'm not signing these documents. And they say, well, that's fine. That's fine. Don't sign them. We'll see you in court, and you'll never get out of here. And that's what happens, and it happens, more often than not. So look, these are some of the signs, some of the indicators you should look for if your loved one is being held in a Baker Act facility, and you want to know, are they ever getting out, right? And as I've said in many other videos, this is a race to the courthouse. Whoever gets there first is probably going to win. Now, I sue a lot of these facilities, and they hate me. And I'm okay with that because I help a lot of people to get out of facilities that shouldn't necessarily be there. But time is of the essence on these cases, and we have to move quickly. So I routinely file them, not just during the week, but I'll file them on the weekends. I'll file them on holidays. I don't care. I'll help you if you reach out to me. With that said, call us for a consult. Stay safe and be well.